It's the Full Force News Burst, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod, AKA Diagnostic 80. Now let's get into the news. Let's get into the news indeed. Hello, everybody. Everybody, there's 8 people watching at the moment. Hello, all 8 people. Yes, we have got... It's just nuts, isn't it? Funny story, right? I should have known better. Of course there were going to be leaked images today. Of course. But I spent a lot of the day, not a lot of the day, but like a good chunk of time working on what was going to be just a little news burst extra, sort of weekly roundup on a Tuesday, because we'd had so much information yesterday and today like just little stories. I thought I'll put them together in a little roundup, and that'll be a nice thing just to get a little taster before tomorrow's stream. And then boom, just there you go, leaked images left, right and center of what we can expect to see tomorrow. But I've got a couple other things to talk about first as well, so we'll get in there. Hello everyone in the chat, hope everyone's doing well. Yes, we've got some new graphics. We've got a little rebrand going on for the Full Force. Do you like the logo? I think it's pretty dope actually. There is it there. It's cool, isn't it? That little double F and a star. I think it's really cute. Massive shout out to Brian Sauer for doing some absolutely stellar graphics work again. And yeah, it's nice. So we've got some nice news stuff to kind of show off to you guys. We've got this nice news burst livery, and then of course we'll have the weekly, and of course other things we do, comics burst, redacted, intel, all sorts of cool stuff we've got coming your way, and some very nice kind of like I don't know, kind of like more mature graphics. Even though they're very similar in their styling, there's a nice maturity to this, and of course our own branding, which is pretty cool too. Of course, we've kind of had that very much the that logo style. Do you know what I mean? The Action Force International Heroes logo style. So we thought it was about time that we kind of did some cool stuff like that. Anyway, enough of that, and I'll be talking about all this on the weekly as well in more depth. But let's focus on the news today, and we'll start, as we mean to go on, with a little bit of sort of, well, it is classified news, but not the news that I think you think I'm going to start with, but let's do it. Yes, so stateside port arrivals indeed. So as it may be, shipping data, we do get the occasional bit of information out of shipping data, which obviously helps when you know some of the listing info that we've kind of been talking about for the last however many ages. But one of the things that we can do when we see that shipping data come through is we can kind of like cross-reference it with what we know. And obviously the GIJCS Legacy RR Tommy and GIJCS SP Philip listings have shown up in shipping data coming in to ports today for the US. So apparently it was a small amount of breaker figures, and with more to follow, and then kind of slowly like following a target breaker was the Legacy Firefighter. So that's fun. So at least we know that those are kind of just around the corner, which is great. What's everyone saying in the comments? Hello everyone, sorry, I'm not ignoring you. It's just like it's just so much going on right now. Passes logo's got the hidden letters like the old Brewers logo. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, definitely. I like that. Graphics look great, said Jedi Ben. Thank you. Brian will be very pleased. Can we get Cesspool and Deep Six, says Alec Wu. I'd love that. I would love both of those, please and thank you. Jedi Ben says, yes, I like being mature while talking toys, Chris. Of course. It's all about maturity here on the Full Force, isn't it? Yes, I should start sipping my tea with my pinky out, shouldn't I, Paz? Yeah, I do that anyway. Right then. So that's that bit of info, a little bit of a side mission going on there for you guys. But yeah, the states, like I said, the shipping information, shipping data suggests that these two arrived US stateside today, which is nice. Right then. Now, the other bit of kind of rather important big drop news, which I thought was going to be the biggest news of the day, was that of Cold Slither. Now, to kind of break this down bit by bit, I had written a huge script, so I'm going to read that for the news burst extra that never happened. So, in Cold Slither news, tickets are on sale right now for a one-night only concert by the real Cold Slither. They'll be taking over Brick by Brick in San Diego, located on 1130 Buenos Ave, on Thursday, July 24th at 9 p.m. Doors opening at 8 p.m. The band, consisting of Gus Rios, aka Zartan, Ross Sewage, amazing name by the way, as Torch, Matt Harvey as Ripper, and Andy Selway as Buzzer. I wonder if that's the Andy Selway I know. I need to look at the picture now, don't I? I should have looked at that before I wondered if it was the musician Andy Selway that I know. It probably isn't though. As Buzzer, will be tearing it up for 400, because if I would have found that out a lot sooner, wouldn't I? We'll be tearing it up for 450 fans at this exclusive event. You'll have to be 21 or older, and the tickets cost $42.66. Link in the description if you're interested. Get in while you can. And as well as all that, the debut album. Sorry, I've just realized I need to go like that. Hang on, what's going on? There we go. This is just me fumbling around, like a granddad in these scenarios. Yeah, so as well as that kind of news about the live show, the debut album will officially drop the next day on the 25th, featuring 11 tracks. And there will be 2 vinyl variants available to purchase in Zartan Chameleon Blue on the left-hand side there, and Blood Moon Red on the right side. SDCC attendees can get them at the Hasbro booth on the Friday. You can also pre-order the album right now. I say link in the description, but it ain't. Link on our socials. I posted the articles from, I think, the unofficial SDCC blog. So go check that out on our Facebook page, and you can click through the links on their articles for both the pre-order for the album and for the vinyl, I believe, and of course tickets for the the actual live event. On top of that as well, what's even more kind of even more Cold Slither for you, they dropped the new single from the album today, which you can check out again through those links, called Thunder Machine, and a little video, kind of like a little preview video, was on Instagram stories and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of fun. They're doing loads of stuff for the Cold Slither thing. I think SDCC, for those people that are going, I unfortunately won't be able to, but for those that are going, I think we'll have an absolute blast with the Cold Slither stuff. So all very exciting. And of course, you get an amazing box set too. I mean, we are being spoiled for Cold Slither fans. If you're an actual Cold Slither fan, you are getting everything you could ever want and or need, I'm pretty sure here. In any case, that was the sort of additional kind of big news of the day. And of course, yes, we are getting to the important stuff. Not that this isn't, but you know what I mean. I know what you're here for. You tell me in the comments all the time. Yes, we are talking leaked promo images, and we'll start with Budo. I didn't actually plan to start with Budo because I wanted to, because obviously this is just me. And in fact, do you know what? I'm going to change tack completely. I'm going to come back to Budo. I'm flipping it on its head here. And we're actually going to start with the MMS with Hawk. I'm not trying to play favorites, but I am so in love with that Budo figure that I really want to savor it and save it for later. Anyway, what we're saying in the comments quickly before I move on. Strongly considering a Seattle to SDCC run. Seattle to SDCC run, says Stanley. That would be an impressive run. Thunder Machine is what my high school girlfriend called me. That's interesting, Scott. GL, in the back of my mind, I was hoping that the Quinn listing was going to be, well, Quinn. Still, Budo looks great. Maybe we'll get the real Quinn at some point. I wouldn't be surprised, GL. And I believe our Quinn, the Quinn that we, know and love in the G.I. Joe universe, is KWIN. So it would have been kind of on the nose to go QINN and then for the KW version. But by the by, they've done it before. They've done silly on the nose stuff before, haven't they? Like, what was it? Jabberjaw for the Dragonfly, which is amazing. The Sarge, what was the Sarge's one? Buttercup? I think it was Buttercup, wasn't it? And Mindbender was like brain from Pinky and the Brain. So yeah, they've definitely done on the nose internal code words. For the most part, they are randomized. Right. MMS, Colonel Hawk. Love it. I say Colonel Hawk, it's Clayton Hawk Abernathy with MMS officially. But we know it's Colonel Hawk, don't we? We know his rank at this stage. This is actually blowing. Like I'm really into this. For one thing, it's one of those box ticking scenarios for me. We get a Joe MMS, we get a OG13 figure in Hawk, which is again box ticking. But as far as repaints go, this is a stellar one, and I think the promo images here are really selling it for me. The other thing I've noticed, and you may have noticed as well on the front of the box, is the second official look of the Ore Striker, and we can see that there quite clearly in the background behind Hawk. And yeah, that's a good point, Mark P. 587. He says the wheels look like the oars turn in the background. They do actually. Yes, Jeremy, look at these fancy new graphics indeed. I don't think that's the price, Medic. I don't think that's the price for it, for the US anyway. Not from the information I have, but we'll see tomorrow, won't we? Let's talk about pricing tomorrow, because I'm sure it'll be on on everyone's kind of mind. Anyway, Todd says, I'm way more excited for this than I was the HMS. Yes, Todd, I do love the HMS. I find it very much like completes the stinger or the hiss. It kind of like it's an accompaniment for me, or a dio building kind of piece. The same, I can say 100% the same goes for this one as well. This is going to be like, completing the vamp for me. I like the connected sort of situations. You know what I mean? I do like that a lot. Blitz says quite clearly, but I completely missed it. True, yeah. I say quite clearly, but yeah, I think a lot of people did miss it. It's not, but when you see it, it's like you can't unsee it. It's there. It's obvious. By the way, I will say one more time, Brian Sauer, these graphics are phenomenal. Absolutely stunning. I love them. I know it's like that kind of new shiny toy thing, which is what I'm going through at the moment. But what a perfect show to have a new shiny toy to show off, right? Yeah, I think anyway. So we'll talk pricing tomorrow, guys, when we know exactly what we're dealing with. But for now, we'll just look at the nice pictures, won't we? It's a pretty hefty loadout with this one. They've obviously thrown in all the blast effects, which are okay. Like I don't hate the blast effects. I actually have some of them on show, like on display. I actually have both bazookas utilizing blast effects. Scrap Iron's utilizing his blast effects. So is Metalhead. And then there's a few others scattered around just for effect. But in fact, there's one that's blowing up McLeod, which is quite cute. So it's kind of like one of those curly explosions, and then McLeod have kind of angled McLeod on it, so he's kind of like leaning up against it, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm going into that much detail, but yeah, these particular blast effects, we've seen them before. They're throwing them in again, and to be honest, I'm not that fussed. This is, for me, this is about the figure and the accessory itself. But we'll see, won't we? We shall see. How, but yeah, again, looks great, and I really like that Hawk. I think Hawk looks phenomenal in this. As phenomenal as Hawk can look in this version, you know what I mean? He is just a very basic dude in green. But what they've done is really good, and I'm impressed. There's the loadout again, but in like PNG form. And this is the shot that I absolutely adore, by the way. I think this is great. Holding, like, having a rifle on his back, holding another rifle, finger in the ear, helmet on, right, watching the missiles just kind of taking off and then leaving. It's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Does Hawk have his scar yet? I don't know, Joe, actually. I haven't had a close enough look at the face yet. The Hawk to confuse with Duke. Absolutely, Scott. That green is awesome, says Benny. Yes, it is. Anyway, yes, brilliant stuff. And then of course we get the gorgeous promo images. And this is, again, it's actually in the same environment as Budo, and I didn't realize that at first. I thought this was in like a jungle or like a forest, and I thought the Budo one was kind of like sort of infiltrating a sort of like a dojo sort of thing. But in actual fact, they're actually in the same location. It's just that Hawk and the MMS are a little bit further on into the trees. But like I said, we'll get to Budo in a second. Yeah, but again, phenomenal shots, and I feel like we kind of hit a little speed bump with that last group of images, didn't we? Because we had, that kind of issue with. Excuse me. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. I am. Okay, sorry about that. That hit me out of nowhere. We were going to have. Sorry, yeah, we had that Snake Eyes image where like the thing had shifted down his leg. They were all in the same background, but there was no real narrative going on other than like Cobra Commander and the Serpentor Iguana kind of like having a little bit of a fun little kind of storyline. But other than that, there wasn't really a lot going on. It was just like posing and all that kind of stuff. And I will say, it did feel a little rushed. So it's nice that we're coming back to not even the basics. We're coming back to the complexities that make the GI Joe promo images like unreal, and some of these are beautiful. That one on the right, with all of the, like all of the explosions and the blast effects and everything, and the light and the smoke and everything, just looks so good, so good. And like the angle, like the kind of like the size of the missiles, like the tips of the missiles looking a little bit wider because of the angle that you're looking at it from above. Just really, really cool. I love it so much, that shot. And then there's a couple of shots here showing, first of all, showing Hawk prizing off the panel, the control panel cover, and then the control panel being exposed as well right there. Phenomenal stuff. Need Zap, Short Fuse, Flash, and Grand Slam, says Jeremy. And Stealer, says Jeremy. Yes, that is all that's left, isn't it? Zap, Short Fuse, Flash, Grand Slam. Is that right? And Stealer? Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think we'll get all of them within the next, by 2026, the end of 2026, I reckon. I would be really surprised if we don't have all of the OG 13 by the end of 2026. Anyway, Derek says, my problem is where to put this with my OG 13 shelf. Looks like I'm redoing my shelves. I think a lot of people are redoing shelves. Mine get changed on quite a regular basis, actually, because another figure will come out that will fit in a certain style or sub team or what have you. And then it's like, okay, well, now I've got to take this guy out who was kind of like in there just, making up the numbers. And then that's got, and there's a lot of movement going on. And I do tend to change the tops of the displays quite often. I'm actually going to have to do it again soon. I just want to redo everything. It's like a whole day's process. But yeah, love it. And this is another good shot here. This almost tricked me into thinking it had a drop-down bit that you could like have a troops. It kind of reminded me of the image of very recently the Phalanx that came out for Gridiron, where they've got the back, the back door we kind of open. MMS, a Hasbro or Amazon exclusive, says Alec Wu. I think, as far as we can tell, well, we for the longest time the listing said Fanmazon, but obviously if you go back to when this was revealed on the stream, they incorrectly said that Snake Eyes and the MMS were going to be available like via Amazon. It didn't say exclusively, but it said via Amazon. And then the listings we've had have always said Fanmazon for this particular listing. So I don't know. I'm gonna assume Fanmazon until otherwise stated, I guess. So yeah, I think it's Amazon and fan channels, so Fanmazon. But yeah. Anyway, I love that image on the right hand side. It does look very obviously that we've already seen all of the features that the HMS has. This is just a repainted version, but very cool. Although Zoran says the hitch point is a wobbly mess. It is I don't actually have an issue with it, but I know what you're saying. Like, it's not like it's not something that's very kind of straightforward or simple. There is a little bit of kind of wibble in there. But again, like having to be able to kind of hit lots of different points, I can kind of understand why it's like that. But yeah, I don't think it's an Amazon exclusive, but don't hold me to that. As far as we're aware, it's always been Fanmazon, but they've been they've been mixing up the listings a little bit this year, haven't they? They've been throwing some stuff around, um, whether it be forced on them or just some changes that have been made. Either way, that's happened. And then, of course, we have a highlight here of the actual figure in the set, Hawk himself, and he looks great. I love the fact they gave him blonde hair. Obviously like the original, but it's so weird to have all of these characters again. You know how sort of in the vintage era there was that thing of, I wouldn't say it was a mistake that needed fixing. None of them were really mistakes. They were just kind of quirky little things, like when a new version of a character came out and looked nothing like the previous one. I'm looking at you, Mercer, Sci-Fi, everybody. When they actually have a face and they have a completely different one later. But yeah, I think it's fun that that's continued in the classified series. They haven't just gone, no, it's Hawk. Hawk is a certain look. We're gonna keep the same head sculpt, or we're gonna make a similar head sculpt, but whatever. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, excuse me. Yes, did I say low light? I thought I said low. Oh, Mercer and Sci-Fi, I think I said, didn't I? Yeah, Mercer, low light was another one, definitely. Airborne, that's a good shout. But then again, there's like Airborne that it's not the same character. It's two different characters that share the same code name in some cases with Airborne. Airborne, from Sky Patrol, and Airborne Standard. Tall Tree versus something 6, is it? I can't remember I think it might just be 6, something 6. I can't remember his name now. I've lost me. Anyway, lovely stuff. Here's more shots of Hawk. Again, like I said, pretty standard fare for Hawk, but I do like him. And I am very excited to complete what I think is a like a full vehicle with the MMS going with the vamp. That's how I see it. That's how I look at it. Yes, Bad Wolf Media, you're right. The Hawk in this case would be weird with the same head. What I mean is like a different head, but the same feeling as the other one. Like, you can like a younger head sculpt kind of thing. This Hawk will be junior in my headcanon display, says Johnny. That's cool. What about the rock and roll and bench press file card similarities? Yeah, there's that. There's so many quirks. So many quirks when it comes to file cards and bios and character and all sorts. It's great. I love the rich history of GI Joe, that we have all of these quirky, silly mistakes or errors, or the whole Python Patrol thing is hilarious. The fact that we've got, and not only did they mess it up back in the day, but they continued that mistake with the officer and the trooper to the classified series. And even though it was probably not done on purpose, I commend them for making this. It's the curse of the Python Trofficer. Anyway, yeah, Flint had some different looks, didn't he? But they did tend to keep the head very similar. Like, he had different like version looks, but they kept the head like in the same ballpark, Anyway, and then this last one of Hawk is great, running through. This reminds me, funnily enough, of the Action Force sticker album that had Duke running on the cover. Similar kind of thing where he's kind of dodging explosions. And I believe it was probably on the GI Joe sticker album as well. But I remember it vividly being on the front of the Action Force one, and God, I love that so much. Emily was so trying to straighten out the Python Trofficer. She was, and yeah, it's hilarious how that mistake happened. Red Walrus said with the promotion, he stopped dyeing his hair. Yeah, he had to look a little bit more mature. And mature, that word's come up again, guys. Bet you never expected to hear that word on the full force, apart from unless Naked HD appear in the comments. Anyway, that is that. I'm not gone too far. I forgot for a second there that I'd actually gone backwards in time. So should we go back and have a look at what I am very excited for, and that is Budo. Now, this one is absolutely, in my opinion, this is absolutely next level. Absolutely next level. This is the tripwire effect, I feel. Now, like that tripwire that we had, where we had the multiple different secondaries, the multiple looks that you could give him, just improved the figure on such a massive scale that I feel the same is happening here with Budo. As much as I would have taken I wouldn't, because I wanted a deluxe Budo in like I talked about it for ages, but I would have taken a retail standard, Budo in a similar vibe that we got with the actual original figure. Like the figure that you're looking at there, the helmet, a couple of swords, and a backpack would have been fine with me. And instead, we didn't get a backpack, which is a shame, but we got two different vibes. And I say two different vibes. The promo images could be about 6 different figures. There are so many combinations with this set. It is absolutely bonkers. I didn't do a close-up of the back of his box render, and I should have done. I just, in the rush to get things sorted, did not get to it. But there are some really cool things, not in the render section necessarily, but some really cool things that I didn't know was actually on this figure. And this is one of them. It's the Japanese GI Joe logo. Isn't that rad? On one, well, that must be on one of his shoulders, right? Which is so cool that they've done that logo. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I'm all about this. I'm all about this. Obviously, he's got his name on there, Kyle A. Gesso, or Gesso Kyle A, and that lovely kind of like that diamond logo that they've utilized for Budo. Very nice indeed. But yeah, there's nothing in the actual background that I could find. I couldn't see any snake armors. I couldn't see anything like that, basically. But yeah, that Takara logo is freaking awesome. I'm so glad they did that. And I didn't even know, by the way, until looking at this image when it pops on screen. Didn't even know, because I hadn't looked at them yet. Yes, Jeffrey, exactly like the stuff you put on a canvas before painting. I've been watching with Kate a really cool like guy who restores like crazy old paintings, and it is unbelievable the level of which they get into. Anyway, yeah, that came up. Was it Gesso or whatever it is? A few times, and yeah, it's just insane. Anyway, love this. Love that logo edition. I'm down. So anyway, let's go through these. This is the loadout, which is freaking ridiculous. And I didn't even, like, they didn't show it on the render originally, but the sheath has got a very nice loop on it. So it is going to be, rather than a plug-in, it is which I thought it was going to be, it is a loop over scenario. But I think that way you might be able to get it around the waist on the other side, maybe. Probably not, but I'm going to try and see how it looks. You might be able to like hook, put it on the other side, that sheath on the waist, and hook the loop and the top of on the other side, so it kind of hangs down a little bit. I'm going to try that when I get that figure. I don't think it's something that they intended to happen on there, and it's probably too big, but we'll see. But yeah, otherwise you can just throw it over his shoulder, can't you? And it looks great. But I mean, yeah, you got the sheath, you got that kind of like ceremonial protective sort of neck guard. Then you've got that incredible straw cape scenario. The shin guards, obviously the other secondary, the red kind of sash, scarf, whatever you want to call it, the wrist guards, the helmets, the alternate heads. Lots of swords. It looks as though he's got 3 swords, the long one and then the 2 smaller ones. Um, I think that was what was on the render, but so good. So good. And then obviously Dusty's rifle, with an extra paint deco on there, I think. I think that's is that the green stand in there? Or am I just is that just the light hitting it weird? Probably just the light hitting it weird. What I will do is brighten my own screen so I can see that. Yeah, it might be grey, but it also might just be the light hitting the stand a little bit weird on the rifle. And then of course you've got the pistol as well, the semi-automatic pistol. This is nuts. And when I'm talking at like this is just like all geared up, basically, isn't it? Or one element of the figure geared up. I'm sure there'll be other images like this on, revealed tomorrow on the white backgrounds that show maybe the other version as well. But my God, he looks like one of the Ninja Turtles from Turtles 3, doesn't he? Amazing. I love this is so good. This is so good. Anyway, and then I'll move on to the promo images because these are phenomenal. So this is one look, this is one vibe you could go with, and this is that kind of more ceremonial red homage to the kind of retaliation sort of Budo, more ceremonial, more traditional, and really freaking cool, may I add. This is going to have to be one of those, maybe get 2 of these. So, because I mean, you've got 2 figures here, basically. You've got 2 versions minimum, and then multiple options within those 2 versions. It's probably the best way to say. But yeah, just so much greatness on this one, and that's that extra secondary, like and then the fact that you can take everything off as well. Kitty said. Now, in one of the shots, you'll see that arm right there. It's that shot on the right hand side there at the bottom of the screen. You can see that arm. That will become clearer as we go through these images, but I'll just say now it's probably dice. But we'll get to that in a second as well. But just wanted to close up on that so you could see that clearly on that image. And then you get these beautiful shots. So here he is now in his more kind of standard military getup with the different helmet, the rifle, and he looks like your original sort of Budo but with a gun. And that's pretty rad. I'm not going to lie, he looks phenomenal. And then on the other side, you've got a sort of like Kitty said, semi sort of ceremonial version without the helmet and the classic Budo head and the swords. So you got the shin guards, you got the straw cloak, and you got and all that kind of stuff. So you've got like a bit of a mix and match going on here with that different head, with the standard, the kind of Budo classic head. But then also in the image on the left hand side, if you look in the background, there is a figure holding a sword by the look of it. And I've done a zoom in because obviously look at that. Enhance. And yeah, as you can see, the technology just doesn't exist at the moment that makes that make sense. Anyway, so this could be one of the characters we see in a second, or it could be another character that they are doing that cheeky thing. Because we've spoken to Matt Cohen a lot in the past. Shout out to Matt shooting the Galaxy. And he has said in the past that quite often he just print the damn picture. Brilliant, Jedi Ben. Thank you for understanding that reference. And he would put figures in the background specifically on purpose so that you couldn't really guess who they were, like Crystal Ball, basically, in the background of Nemesis Immortal shot. And then he said there were figures in the background of other shots that he doesn't think people have noticed yet. And I'm tell you what, that had me going back and looking at everything, and I still couldn't find what he was talking about. But I think given enough time, he'll be able to kind of open up a bit more on those. It might be stuff that hasn't even come out yet, but I kind of feel that would be a bit doubtful at this stage. Anyway, it's Chabang, says Jeremy. Chabang. That would be kind of cool if it was. And then we have these images. Now, this is where they kind of switch it up again, and we have that sort of again, it's a mix and match here on the left-hand side. It's like your classic Budo look. I believe that's the classic head, isn't it? Because there's a bit of, it's the microphone on his helmet that kind of cuts across that makes it look like a bit of face paint. But then he's got the red sash, as well. That's kind of, you know, getting about a little bit. And then you flip over the other side, you've got the ceremonial version, you've got the new kind of head sculpt on there, and I'm in love with this thing. And you can see here, this is where the sword, you can see the sword very clearly looped over him there on that one on the right. It's on the left too, but it's under the scarf, so you can't see it as clear. I wonder if it's been on the others. It probably has, because we've seen the sword like on his back. It wasn't on that one. Definitely on there, but you can't see it because the gun's in the way. So this is the first really good shot on the right hand side of the loop, the green loop going around for the sword. And it sits quite high there, but you might be able to move it down a little bit. But again, looks great. Holding the helmet, very, very, very epic. I've looked in the background of both of these, couldn't find anything like, you know, I looked very closely, couldn't find anything here. But this is where we start seeing some cool stuff. The retro bat here, it looks as though we're dealing with, what's that on the floor though? Is that one of his parts? Why can't I work out what that is? Why can't I definitely thought I'd looked at that, and I can't see. Oh, it's the hand with the pistol. Brilliant. Sorry, from when I look on the screen, it's a very small image, but I have to do the zoom in like an old person on the phone every now and again. And yeah, I can see it's the severed battle android hand, the left hand with the pistol attached to it still. Anyway, chopping the head off a retro bat, very dope. And then I'm assuming it's retro bat. The yellow looks brighter. The faceplate is red. I'm pretty sure it's a retro bat. And of course, that's coming soon. So it's not really something that's kind of having to be hinted at, but it's the first official kind of viewing of the retro bat, I think, since the render, I want to say. Obviously, we've seen a lot of unofficial retro bat images, but you know what I'm saying. And then on the right hand side here, we have one of my favorite shots. Actually, I think it was Jeremy in the chat mentioned this in a message. I think you mentioned that this is one of your favorite shots, Jeremy. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, it's so cool that you can take all the gear off and have this sort of like, I don't know, sort of like a chill, I don't know, chill Budo. I like it. I like that figure works for me just without the secondary. Like it works really well. Just have like a little the little scarf on there maybe. But yeah, it looks great. Severed Android Hand was my post-punk new wave band name, says Scott. Yeah, we were both in that one, weren't we? Jeremy says, yes, I love that shot without armor. Yeah, I thought you did. The right looks like the Walking Dead character. It does, Joss. It really does. Jedi Ben says the no gear one looks pretty close to a Billy. It's not a bad shout, actually. You could probably do like a Billy in that kind of style, couldn't you? Utilizing maybe that body. They maybe go like a short sleeve sort of situation too. But anyway. Yeah, someone does have a retro bat review, Stan. Yes, they do. And yeah, we posted that a while back. You're absolutely correct. I'm kind of talking from an official capacity, not like a cheeky got it early from, you know, the dark web and are posting it on the YouTube channel. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Totally. It is Budo in his jammies, Nathan. That's exactly, he's wearing his PJs. 100% with you on that. Then it gets interesting. I keep saying it got interesting before. It gets similarly interesting because it's almost the same shot in the background. But the one on the left, beautiful. Again, really like this version of Budo, the non-ceremonial one. The ceremonial one's really cool too. I'm going to have to get two of these, genuinely. But this is so cool because, again, it shows without the helmet. He's looking rad. He's pulling the sword out. He's got the pistol. It's just, I don't know. Matt does some really good posing with his images. I'm sure this is a Matt Cohen production, almost certain. Probably Matt and Corey, but you know what I mean. I'm sure he has his hand in this one for sure. Yeah, there's no backpack on this one, Zoran, unfortunately, which is sad. Although, well, it's not really a backpack, but the sword sheath goes on the back. The cape goes on the back, but yeah, you're right. There's no backpack, which is a shame because I do love Budo's backpack in the vintage line. But I'm not going to complain too much because they have done a phenomenal job on the design on this. You know, the deco's on point, that kind of grey and green with the brown and the black. It's just, there's a lot of deco on this too. Like he is killing it for deco. And then the other shot on the right hand side, again, he's got his helmet on this time and he's holding the rifle. But as you can see in the background, we have a similar shot in the background that we saw before, which I've zoomed in on again. Look, enhance, 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 enhance. Just print the damn picture. Anyway, that is the best we can do. I think this is a snake armor. What do we think this is? Do we think it's one of the characters coming up very shortly, or do we think it's something else? We'll look at those characters now, though. Yes, this is the final shot. And I saved this for last because it obviously has the biggest, coolest reveals on it. And yes, we've got Slice and Dice having a go at Budo here in his ceremonial getup. As you can see, Slice over there is kind of like hooking his sword, and Dice seems to have been disarmed and was about to be maybe cut across or sliced up, or probably diced up because he's Dice. And it looks as though Slice has saved the day a little bit there for his buddy. And caught the blade before it can complete its deathly journey. That got a bit like deep, didn't it? But in any case, here we have Sloice and Doice. Now it's quite likely, hint, hint, that we might see these tomorrow as well. Just gonna throw that one out there. Scott says Dice was disarmed and was about to be disarmed. Yes, exactly. Dice getting slashed. I like that, Ed. I like that. Anyway, so there you have it. Slice and Dice showing up. Now, with that in mind, do you think that this character in the background that we've seen in this kind of dojo in the distance, do we think this is a different character? Do we think this is a Slice or a Dice, or maybe one of each in each kind of like different promo image? Do you think it's a completely different character? Any ideas who you think it might be? I'm going to say Crystal Ball. I'm not, but Danny is, and so is someone else said that as well. I'm just stealing them. Red Walrus said it as well. So Red Walrus and Danny Townsend, I just stole your jokes. Basically, that's how it goes. That's how it goes here. If I see it in the comments, I'll steal it. Just kidding. Scott thinks it's a Cobra La Royal Guard. Hilarious. Bias says it's pretty sure it's Bigfoot. Also hilarious. Jeremy reckons it's Jabang or Dojo to add to Nunchuck Ninja Force. I like that thought process. I'm going to say Ninja Force Zartan then if we're going down that road. New Red Ninja, says Bjorn. New Red Ninja would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Yes, Bigfoot is always blurry, Bias. You're right. Definitely Snake Armor, says Squishy. And there we go. Thank you, Squishy, for the Snake Armor, the classic in-joke Snake Armor background maneuver. Ninja Force Storm Shadow, we've kind of technically got already, Johnny, but I tell you what, there's a figure that I would take again just to improve on the articulation points. The legs just don't do it for me, unfortunately. And it was early in the line, so obviously we can grant them some sort of like, kind of like a pass on that one. But I love that. I love the look of that figure, but the articulation needs a lot of work. So I think a new Ninja Force Storm Shadow would be definitely like accepted by the fandom at some point. I for sure would. Anyway, Jeremy reckons Baby Blue Ninja Viper on Retro Storm Shadow Buck would be awesome. Yeah, it would be actually, wouldn't it? But there you go. Right then, I think that is everything for the night. Let's quickly bosh onto the leak listings just to see where we are. As I said before, so Quinn Deluxe is Budo, so he's clearly going up for pre-order tomorrow. There's almost certain. When you get promo images the night before, we know what it means. So Budo is going up for pre-order tomorrow. Almost, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Then, of course, what am I saying? Then MMS with Colonel Hawk is also going up. That's El Seed. And as far as we're aware, it's Fanmazon. But like I said, it could be Amazon exclusive. But as far as we know, it'll be a Fanmazon situation. we'll find out tomorrow. So, and it's no big. I mean, it's only that it doesn't go up on the other fan channels. It'll just be an Amazon exclusive. So, and Pulse do have small amounts of everything with the exclusives. So it will be on. If you're a Pulse Premium member, then you're probably in for a fairly smooth ride. If not, then I can only imagine it's going to be a nightmare of a day for you. If you want these figures and bits and pieces and what have you. So yeah, and I would probably keep an eye out maybe for Slice and Dice as well, considering they're showing up in the promo images for Budo. And they're Pulse exclusive. And I'm just doing some math here, but theory, brain work, detective work, but we don't always get Pulse exclusive images, do we, the night before? The leaks come from fan channel, Amazon, Target, Walmart. They don't come from Pulse exclusives. Correct me if I'm wrong. There could be an example where that isn't the case, but for the most part, it's not always. We don't get everything the night before usually as a leak. But anyway, Coastal Defender pre-order tomorrow would be amazing. Just an Amazon exclusive, flashbacks to Eel Horror Show. Yes, Scott. Well, they did release it again on RetroCard. So anyway, anyway, I think that's pretty much everything. So yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow, especially like Budo, man. I can't believe how like I've seen that bloody listing for so long, and I've wanted to know what the heck he looked like. And then when that render reveal popped up last week, I was like, oh, I'm in love. And then when the actual like the images popped up today, I was drooling. I was genuinely drooling. Literally the only thing that would have made it beyond perfect would have given him a backpack. But I get it. When you got like multiple secondary things in there, I can see where the costing goes. But I do feel like we have been really we've been really lacking in backpacks, and I don't understand why. We need to be swimming in backpacks, I think. Retro card MMS confirmed. Yes, Jeremy. Yeah, not at all. That is a very good point. The eel was a single figure. MMS with Hawk, if it's an Amazon exclusive, creates a bit more of an issue. You're right. Anyway, I think we're going to call it a little bit there. Now, I will be back tomorrow, of course, we'll keep going with the leak listings of 2026 first. Let's finish it properly. So we know of Taurus and Red Dog, Johnny 2-pack. That's it. Everything else is not a sausage. Bad Wolf Media. I saw an Arctic bat for sale in real life this weekend. I was stunned. Where? Was it a convention or something? Anyway. Yes, the Striker wheels do seem to turn, don't they, Mark, on that image? I did mention that earlier. I think you mentioned that in the first place. But yeah, I'm excited and hope that they do have a little turn in them. But anyway, no updates here on these listings other than we know that Taurus and Red Dog, the 2-pack there. Boom. The name only reveals are as normal at the moment, Sarge and Mercer and Taurus and Red Dog. Wouldn't be surprised if we see one or both of these 2-packs this month in some way, shape, or form. It was a Toy Story in St. Louis for $75. My goodness, Bad Wolf Media. That's crazy, isn't it? How that is how that particular figure's just been like really hard to get hold of now. Anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sarge and the Mercer at some point this month, maybe Taurus and Red Dog, but the fact that they're listed for like the 2026 makes me think that maybe a render reveal or something like that. They've already had a name only, so there you go. As far as digital renders are concerned, we now have seen pretty much all of Budo and MMS, but obviously we'll wait and Slice and Dice, but we'll wait to see what happens tomorrow before I update that particular graphic. And that's pretty much it. I think we're there. Yes, we are. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Before I go, I'll just pop that up on the screen. Before I go, let's have a little message from our sponsor. Such a banger. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me. It's been fun. Now, what was I going to say? There's something I was planning to say. Yes, Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions, obviously. They can be, you can actually get them, you can order them from totaltoybooks.com for the UK and Europe, and skeletron.com if you're in the United States. I will obviously see you tomorrow for a live reaction from the fan stream. It won't be like immediate. It's going to be later in the day, obviously. But I will, try and get it done in good time so we can have a good chat about all the cool stuff that's been on show. And I imagine that as well as pre-orders that we know are coming, we'll probably have something else thrown in there. I imagine there's going to be more news on stuff. We've obviously had the news of SDCC, Cold Slither stuff as well. What else was I going to say? I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Yeah, anything else, we'll report on it tomorrow. There's a couple of other stories that I was going to do in a news burst, kind of Tuesday roundup before I, had to go live tonight. One of them is obviously that little mask update with the loyal subjects kind of long helmets with the blast effects. I did do a whole thing for that, so we're going to be talking about that on the weekly now. And the Air Tiger. Is it the Air Tiger? The Tiger Force Air Eagle. Wow. That was also going to be on the news burst extra thing that I was going to do, but obviously that got scuppered because I had to do this anyway. So we'll be talking about that on the weekly as well, because that thing looks phenomenal. And I am a sucker for anything Tiger Force, obviously. Right then. I'll see you on the next one, guys, which is tomorrow. Stay fresh, cheese bags. Hope you enjoyed all the new graphics. Shout out to Brian Sauer for our wonderful new livery and rebrand. Merch coming soon. Also, just like the hat, if you guys are Boss Fight Studio fans, you might recognize this very recent reveal as well. Shout out to Boss Fight Studio and the Immortal Champions. I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. I'm excited. You can tell, right? That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. And as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.